and Ellie are going to do one this afternoon with Lev.
That's awesome.
So that's super cool. Um, but my son's doing well. He's healing. He's back at school, which is freaking awesome. There we go. Banner and Backbone is now live on Substack.
Beautiful.
Eventually, it'll show up on the stream, but we're now live. Welcome to episode 4 of Palantalk on Banner and Backbone. We're doing this again, round 2, with
Round two.
Nick Paro and Shane Yirak on Palantalk,
Yes.
episode 4, round 2. You know why? Because 2 plus 2 is 4. Because we believe in truth
Oh,
here and not false bullshit.
that's right.
Um,
That's right.
so,
And it, not everyone understands, myself included, Nick's high level, thinking sometimes. He gets those subtle things in there, like starting the stream twice, multiply that twice. I didn't even catch it, but this is the first time I'm
amen.
this, but
It's
he's,
the doubles. Oh, and
yes,
I see us live on Substack, and we got 11 folks with us right now, which is awesome. Welcome,
fantastic.
everyone. We're trying new things here. This is
Okay.
not streaming to our personal platforms or through our personal platforms, and it's only being notified through Banner and Backbone itself. So please spread this with your friends. This is a little bit different than we've done in the past. So Banner and Backbone is going to drop that link. Um, we're trying something new. We're trying to run
Yeah.
Palantalk straight through Banner and Backbone because Banner and Backbone Media is a place where we're coming together and creating together. And if you want to follow us, I'll make sure our QR codes come up at some point. I think I've got both for Shane and I already. Um, and we'll make sure that you guys all, ooh, look at that. We got the Firebrand Project. We got Banner and Backbone. We
Nice.
got sick of this shit with Nick.
Excellent.
So we're gonna start with Banner and Backbone at the top for a while.
Yep.
Join us, friends. We're also gonna add another subtle design if it's still there. Um, is the I Stand with Ukraine. I hope it's still there. I don't know. Oh, they took it away. Damn. That sucks. But we stand with Ukraine against
Absolutely.
the fascism that is spreading.
Yeah.
Um, and it's spreading fast, dude. Like, I want to talk about good things with y'all, and I want to talk about fun and happy shit going on in the world, but there's really not a lot of it at the moment going on. Like, well, I wish I could talk about happier, more fun topics than fucking Palantir rebranding itself as an AI company instead of a military industrial complex company,
Right.
or Flock Security stealing camera data or taking camera data and giving it to ICE and
Global law
DHS
enforcement.
to
Yeah.
prosecute people and target trans folks and
Mhm.
all the good stuff that everybody hates because fascism fucking sucks,
Yeah.
as we are finding out in real time. Like we all knew was going to happen, but nobody was smart enough to vote against it other than the minority of us who did. Was fascism fucking sucks.
Yeah. It's terrible. Right. It's like
Yeah.
the actual worst. And, I recently wrote as well, the firebrands out there who have probably come from both and Banner and Backbone. Some of you guys have seen as well. But I wrote recently, my most recent article was, it's called The Iron Web. And it's about
Let's
how,
talk about it.
yeah, so and democracy's on the back burner, guys. Like, it's not just an American thing. And that's kind of the question I wanted to set out when I started writing it. It was the idea is, yes, America's backsliding, but how widespread is this issue? And when you look at it numerically, like less than half of the countries, like, that are on that were on the list that I looked at, which is there's 167 nations. About 74 of those are democracies. Okay, out of those
Yeah.
74, 2/3 of those democracies were showing signs of backsliding into nationalist or authoritarian systems, whether that's through corruption, whether that's through bribery, nationalism, any of those things. So the reality is that we're seeing a international backslide. in
Yeah.
regards to the power of democracy. And that's in Europe, that's here, and what's happening in America is only
Well,
unfortunately
it's in
amplified.
Africa, it's in
Oh
South
yeah,
America, it's in all of North America except Canada.
yep,
Well, no, it's in Canada. It is spreading in Canada in some areas. Alberta is a case in point study of what fascism spreading looks like.
yes.
Um,
I
it's
will
in
say that
Denmark.
Canada is one of the healthiest democracies in the world, though, right now. Canada is up there in regards to one of
Yes.
the healthiest democracies. Their courts are pretty good. They do have nationalist elements, but they've done a pretty good job of not letting that spiral out of control. Let's cross our fingers. All our Canadian friends, keep your
Yeah,
eyes open.
keep doing that. Like keep it up, Canada. Y'all
Yep.
are doing a great job. Mark
Mhm.
Carney is doing a great job. Dean
Yes.
Blundell is fucking killing it out there. Like Canadians, go find or Americans, go support Dean Blundell. Like he's on live right now on a same time but with Lev Parnas. Go support them. Like follow both of them, subscribe to them, share their
Yeah.
stuff. Like that's the most important, easiest way you can support creators right now is share and cross share.
Yes.
Share and cross share across platforms, help build us here because Substack is just one element for all
Mhm.
of us. Like none of us are going to rely on Substack as our only platform, as you can see, where Palantalk looks a little different than our normal shows. Like
Yeah.
we're restreaming on YouTube right now and Substack. We're building the audience in multiple places because that's what we want. That's also we're feeding that algorithm. We're feeding the algorithm that we talk about changing and about putting out content all the time that overloads the system and overloads their plans. Guess what? Y'all are part of it. Y'all are part of it right now, supporting other networks and supporting our Substacks too on top of it. Another great way. Just support
Absolutely.
us, just share, because that feeds the algorithm. And we talked about that last time before we get into your article.
Yeah.
Just for my introduction and recap from our last 2 weeks. For all who've been here, and a lot of folks have, is we've done talking about minimizing your metadata and maximizing your impact, like we always do. And the key things that you can do are put out content, share content. One of the easiest ways you can do it is share content and flood the zone that they do. They flood the zone really
Yeah.
well. You know what? We can flood the zone back, but we can flood the
Right.
zone with content that doesn't suck, and we're creating a manosphere and a progressive sphere, more a progressive sphere than a manosphere because there's not just men that are in this, it's everyone. And there are white men who are participating who are the good guys for once. Like, yeah, fucking elbows up. We're trying to be the good guys for once. And I think if we can do it, y'all. Like help us do that. Help build Banner and Backbone. Help build Palantalk so that we can talk about the technofascism that's happening in real time because it's here. Like we cannot ignore technofascism. We cannot ignore authoritarianism. We cannot ignore fascism just in general. It is here. It is a real thing, and it is not creeping. It is running at us. It is
Yeah.
running at us. And the next step in fascism is troops in the street as a normal thing.
Yeah.
And they're about to do it in Chicago. And then, if they can get away with it enough, or if they don't get enough backlash, they're going to start doing it in red states in cities. And that's when it's going to get really dangerous because red states aren't going to hold them back the way that blue states are. And people are going to get hurt. Um,
When I think
and
that's part
so,
of it, right? Like that's a really
mhm,
important part of it, and so for later in the discussion, I thought it
yeah,
would be really good to bring a case study because it's always good for us when we talk about these things to have something we can point to and be like, yeah, 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 like because it's like we talk about techno-fascism here because that's kind of the manifestation of the the autocracy that we're seeing rise here in the United States. But autocracy itself is, authoritarianism. It takes a lot of different forms, a lot of different niches. But at the end of the day, like an autocracy likes another autocracy, right? Putin's
Yeah.
Russia likes Xi Jinping's China. Are they the same? No, but they actually,
No.
at the end of the day, they operate on the same principle. And so what we have here in America is technofascism, because our autocrats are coming from a neo-Nazi aligned ideology. Um, but the case study that I have for us today is actually about the Uyghur people in China, in Xinjiang province, and how we have a very real case study of how a autocratic government has effectively cracked down using all of the things we talk about here on Palantalk in real
Yeah.
time, with a real timeline, with the things that they've instrumented, and how they did it. And I kind of got that prepped, and I'm going to bring that in later in the show. And me and Nick can maybe go down that list and see if we can point to some of the things we can see here, maybe see some warning signs, maybe see we're not there yet, etc. And I thought that would be a good point for discussion. But,
Is there anything you want me to put up on the screen to help, like, help facilitate this? We can add the article itself about the iron web. There's other pieces that we can do. So let me know going through the show. I'm going to let you take over basically
yeah,
for a lot of this, because
okay.
you're welcome back. You've got a
Yeah,
huge
dude, I'm
topic,
so
and
I'm
I'll
so happy
just
to be
add
back.
I'll just add into it, brother. It was so good to see you this morning on Dana and Lawrence's show.
I was,
It was
I
cool
was,
to see you there. I love their show. That's my morning show. So
I love
um,
it.
glad you were part of my morning.
And I get to be part of your morning twice, so double
Hell
trouble,
yeah, man.
a morning of doubles, right?
Heck yeah.
All
All right.
right.
I'm going to make you a little bigger, I hope. Oh, that made me bigger. Does it make you bigger when you talk? Ooh. Ha
Yeah,
ha.
it
I
does.
figured the
Oh,
magic
look at
out.
that.
Look
Look
at
at
that
that.
magic. All right,
Now,
man. Take it away,
all right,
brother. I'm going to link on the screen and stuff while we're doing this. The
for sure.
your article.
Yeah,
I'll throw up some QR codes and stuff,
for sure.
and whatever you need me to do, I'll throw up on the screen and help.
Awesome. Well, obviously, I'm going to reference the article, me and Nick have been talking about, the Iron Web, how greed, fear, and power are strangling democracy around the globe. So, in this article in general, just to kind of give you an idea, I looked at the Economist Intelligence Unit, or EIU, Democracy Index. Okay, so it's 167 countries. And I basically took those countries, and I wanted to effectively ask a question. I'm like, okay, like, what's the state of democracy in general? Because, as someone, you guys know, I'm a big on geopolitics. I follow the war in Ukraine. I know what's going on in Africa. I see what's going on in India. I like it. I like to understand. I've always been a big picture guy, but the more it's a tough time these days to be big picture, because unfortunately, when I look at the big picture, I was starting to kind of get this idea that maybe it's really not, the world order is not what it used to be. We see the UN issuing all of these ultimatums saying that Israel can't kill all of these Palestinians, and they do it anyway. You know, Putin's a war criminal, and he's still not in The Hague. He came to the US. So basically, I said, I'm going to look at these countries and I'm going to create 5 categories. So you have a full democracy, which effectively you have strong civil liberties and independent judiciary, government accountability, high political participation, right? You have a flawed democracy. Supposedly you have free and fair elections. We have basic liberties, insignificant, but significant weaknesses exists, whether that's corruption, whether that's nationalist parties emerging, whether that's, limited freedom of expression, etc. That would have been a flawed democracy. And then we have these hybrid regimes. So the hybrid regimes themselves, those are countries that tend to be in a transition into a negative transition. So when I say a hybrid regime, it doesn't mean it's in limbo. It means it's gone from a flawed democracy to a point where pretty much whatever democratic institutions exist have been effectively undermined. They're there in maybe the form of a skeleton. Lastly, we have the authoritarian regime, or an autocracy. And I threw in there at the end, chaos nation or a failed state. There is plenty of places right now. A lot of them are in Africa. Myanmar is one of those places as well, where you just have so much conflict, civil war. Yemen, where you don't actually have a functional government. So that was the idea, right? And so I ended up breaking it down in those 5 categories. And what I found was that 74 democracies currently exist. They fall under flawed or full. 50 of those democracies were flawed. So that's really one of the big numbers, there that I thought was interesting is we've seen this massive regression. And if we're seeing 2/3 of the overall population of global democracies are in hot water, right? And then you also see that, and I'm not even talking about that. I believe it was 30 hybrid regimes as well, with an additional 51 authoritarian regimes. So if we take the hybrids, partner those with authoritarian regimes, we're already in a deficit. Democracy's in a deficit. Now, you have certain countries too that are arguably closer than others. Like, look at America. And that's where the big implication comes is America has always been the fundamental backbone of global democratic power.
Which is funny, looking at your before you go on, which has always been funny to me because the American democracy has always been a flawed democracy, um,
Mm-hmm.
because a we're there's always been, there's an adage about the American democracy is we're always on the edge of autocracy versus democracy. Like that is America, truly
Mm-hmm.
is fascism or democracy, and it's always at a balancing point, and somewhere in the middle is what we've got, which means
Yep.
we are anywhere from a flawed to authoritarian regime on like a normal
Yeah.
basis. We just don't realize it because we've legalized the
Correct.
corruption and we've legalized it into our system and we've baked it in so our country has undermined its own political institutions on
Yep.
purpose.
Yep.
And so, at least for me, I I want to base our discussion in terms of you push back too if you don't think I'm right, or if you agree and want to add on this. Please go like jump in and
Yeah.
break me out of here. Is I think we're at least have been for a long time a hybrid regime, um,
I would. I
and
would agree.
we're on the authoritarian regime right now.
Okay. So I'm gonna say that I placed us under flawed. Now, I think that reason I say flawed is because we do have democratic states. Since we are a republic, like there is functional democratic states, and the states still do have a reasonable amount of autonomy.
Mm,
Like we see states forming coalitions, but the
I live in
federal.
a red state, so I would disagree. I
Okay, I
think
mean,
we're
and
pretty well
that's fair.
failed. Like red states are failed states.
That's
I think
fair.
we've got to stop pretending like we have working states throughout the country. Like blue states might be working. I've lived in Washington State and I now live in Arkansas. Like
Yeah,
I see the difference. Red states are failed states in a lot of ways. Like
I
we
would.
don't have any social programs, we don't have social safety systems. If Walmart goes and decides to cut back in any way in this area, the entire economy collapses. When the health system, when the funding for food stamps and all of that goes away in the next couple years, Arkansas has failed. Like there we're taker states. Every taker state is a failed state. I think we need to stop. I think if we want to really talk about shifting perspectives and using the right words that you were
Yeah,
talking about earlier, is let's not pretend that we're better off than we actually are. Like
yeah.
we're
I,
way further down the road than people want to admit because we have red super majorities in a ton of states and they keep taking funding away from everything and we're failed states. Like
yeah.
point done. Like Oklahoma is a failed state.
Absolutely. And I think you're right. Like, I will say that, like, when I said flawed democracy, like, I honestly, like, was going back and forth between hybrid regime, and I would firmly place the United States under a hybrid regime now. I don't think we're autocratic. The only reason I say that is because they have not successfully implemented an autocracy. Like, Xi
Mm,
Jinping and Putin, they laugh at Trump because he sucks at being a full blown authoritarian. It's
yeah.
not that he doesn't want to be, it's that and there's a large degree of inadequacy within the government itself that we see. If these people were adequate at doing what they wanted to do, we would already be fucked. Like if they were competent, we'd be screwed, and that's our saving grace. Like, to be
Mm,
honest with you, is that they're not
yes.
competent.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. I agree that they're incompetent, but I think that if you were to actually say, if they were to say send ICE to uh, Miami,
mhm.
let's use Miami. If they started sending ICE en masse to Miami and arresting Cuban Americans and deporting Cuban Americans without due process, then I doubt in any way, shape, or form Ron DeSantis would push back.
I agree.
I also believe he would add funding to it because he has already shown that he would do that, which is he is an authoritarian who has been voted in for the last couple of years. Like he is he's an authoritarian light, but I think they have rigged the system so well through gerrymandering that we've had rigged elections for a really long time. We just don't want to call them that.
I
Like,
think that's fair.
we don't want to use the right words because that scares us in America, is to call things what they are. It's
No,
we're a failed state with rigged elections. And if we want to fix our democracy, we need to blow away the failing guardrails and
correct.
put ones in that actually work. Because if democracy worked, Joe Biden would have stopped Donald Trump from coming into office even
Yeah,
after he was elected, because that was the right
thing
thing to
to do.
do per the
Yep,
Constitution
yep.
and per law and order, was to arrest Donald Trump and throw him in prison and
Yep.
all of his henchmen and goons. But we didn't do that
No. I've
because
always wondered why. I
America
feel,
is a failed democracy
yeah,
because they are bought and paid for by groups like APAC, who fund Palantir through war and genocide, and as we discussed with Qasim Rashid this morning, a Holocaust.
yes,
If that word offends people, too fucking bad. Like, I'm Jewish. I'm deconstructing in real time what it means to say that we can no longer say the Holocaust. We can only say a Holocaust
yeah. Well,
because we are not we, the Israeli government and the Israeli people and our government are funding and perpetrating a Holocaust.
every
And they're
time you see a
using groups
bomb
like
go
Palantir.
off in a Palestinian high rise, that's your tax dollars, right? That's the thing too. It's like
While
that.
they have full free education and universal health care, and we're dying and getting our health care pulled away, we're funding theirs and a genocide
Yeah,
and a Holocaust. Like, we can, and Palantir is at the heart of it, and Palantir is taking over our systems and creating an autocracy and a techno-fascist state in our country,
yeah,
which we're soon going to find out is really, really good at fucking targeting individuals.
yep. And like just a good example, right, of free healthcare is it's like a big thing. A 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee woman was stabbed to death on a train. Guy, mentally ill guy, record had 14 previous offenses in North Carolina. Just stabbed her in the neck. She was 23. She escaped war-torn Ukraine to get a better life in America. She got stabbed to death with her headphones on a train. The family had asked to have him institutionalized multiple times because he was a danger to society. You know why he wasn't? Because it cost money.
Yeah,
So that man,
which is fucking stupid.
it's stupid. I mean, the man literally, his whole family, everyone was like, he's fucking dangerous. He's going to hurt someone. He's been arrested 14 times. He needs to be institutionalized. Well, do you guys have the money to institutionalize him? No. Well, fine. I guess we'll just have to wait until he kills a young woman who escaped a war zone so he can go to jail.
And
And then
and
they're
let's
going to
be
spin it because he's black, like
yeah.
it's some negative immigration thing. You already see it on X and Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Elon retweeting that shit like it's something. They're
It's a
making a thing out,
cesspool of racism and hate.
and it's not what I watch a guy who's from Ukraine. His name's Denis Davidov. He's fantastic. He's a YouTuber. Um, and he's talking about it, and he's like, American. He's Ukrainian, fully Ukrainian. He's like, America, and the problem in the West is they don't take safety seriously. They don't take mental health seriously, and it is not safe in these developed nations when they say it's safe, because this young woman left Ukraine to go somewhere that is safe, and she was killed on the train. Yet these countries claim they're healthier and safer. That's bullshit. And it's true. I mean, from an objectively foreign person who's like just looking in, call it what it is, bro, because it is. He's
Mhm.
calling it what it is. It's not, and if that upsets you and you're American, good. Good. It should
Yeah,
fucking upset you. Like,
yeah.
I'm
We
upset.
should be upset that our systems are broken, that
Yeah.
nobody is taking care of us, that we waste our tax dollars to fund billionaire lifestyles instead of providing ourselves services that actually work. Like you're talking about, and I know we've gone a little off topic, but that's okay
Yeah.
because it's still on all of this tech stuff is we could be using tech and AI for so much good. We could be using this technology for so much good. Like the preventative care that could come from AI looking at health records and being able to assess and find minor triggers that other people couldn't process and put together and use actual algorithmic tools that like make models for our health and our services but aren't trying to then kill us with or put us onto a list that's going to take us away or ostracize us. You made a good point about institutions, and I want to talk about these real quick. Institutionalizing people, institutions. That's a really dangerous key word on the right, but not for us, because we're not talking about institutionalizing people just because you have a health condition, just because you have schizophrenia, or just because, let's say, you have a psychosis or something that causes you to become very, very like severe narcissism. And an orange pathological liar in the White House is a great
Mhm.
example. He would be a great tool being institutionalized because he has a narcissistic personality disorder that is causing a large social psychosis for everybody else. It is a problem to society.
Yeah.
We're not advocating putting people away, like our friends or our family, or if you have
Yeah.
autism or things like that, because that's dangerous as fuck. That's eugenics. But if you have a real problem where you need help and you need assistance and you need care, like I could institutionalize myself for free at the VA. And it's not a bad thing. I could check myself in for mental health services at the VA as everybody else should be able to do because it should be a guaranteed fucking right. We pay for it for Israel to have it. Why can't we?
Yeah.
Like, fuck. Like, I get it. It poses a threat. The idea of this could pose a threat in the wrong hands. Okay, well then let's make some fucking laws that protect ourselves and amend our constitution and do things that guarantee rights and data privacy and
Yeah.
protection so that you can't be taken advantage of and put it like base it on people again. But anyway, I digress from what we
No, I
were
mean, I
talking
think
about.
that was
It's
all
because the tools
invaluable.
are important and
Yeah.
the tools that are being co-opted by Palantir, by Flock Security, by threats, by nihilistic fascist threats, end of world time threats. Like that's what they want. Peter Thiel, Curtis Yarvin don't care if we survive. In fact,
No, they literally
less of us,
call
the
us,
better.
they refer to people as NPCs, literally, in these their writings. An NPC is a non-playable character. Okay, so they literally consider themselves fucking the main characters in this video game they've constructed for themselves, and we are just the chattel that they. If imagine they are playing GTA and they will take the ambulance and run you over on the sidewalk because
Yeah,
that's how they view you. You are an
they're
NPC.
playing Civilization,
Yes,
and
that's better. That's a
they
better.
are just attacking at all times. They are always
Yes.
at war. Just imagine, like, I know everybody has played the game Civilization. Fantastic fucking game, especially if you're neurodivergent and you just need to sit there for hours and just click buttons. It's
Hmm.
so much fucking fun. I cannot. But anyway, I digress. But it's like Civilization to them. We're just pieces. We're little players that they get to move turn by turn, steadily grow, build their empires, and spread. And then when they butt against each other, they send out propaganda and they do psyops using tools like Palantir and Flock Security to control your movement, to monitor where you're going, to take your phones over and find all your data and access
Yep.
everything and scrape all of the information. And that includes all your passwords and all your secure crypt keys and your crypto keys and your anything you might have stored on your phone that's encrypted. They get to have access to, and guess what? They have the unencryption passwords. I guarantee you. I guarantee you they can unencrypt it because they're in contract with the government to do that. So if
That's
you think
a
your data is safe, it's fucking not.
that's a
Move it
good
to some, I
segue
guess
here.
I guess one piece of information on minimizing your metadata and maximizing your impact is get some local fucking hard drives and make your own local data, like data
Or
store.
what if we just brought back typewriters? Fuck it, let's all go analog.
No,
You know?
no, please, please, God, no. I don't want typewriters. Like I literally learned. I know I'm playing with my beard a little bit, but it feels odd.
You're
Um,
making me jealous. I can't.
I
I don't.
love my beard. I hate the way that Restream does it. Is I have to watch myself in the mirrored camera, like
Oh.
so that my flag flies the correct direction.
Mhm.
Um, and it's weird because I have to do like opposite head movements to see myself. But I see my beard in the light, and I'm like, ooh, it's so pretty today. I did such a nice job cleaning it up today.
Yeah,
Um,
my beard's really
but
light, and
anyways, just like
you just can't
get
see it
your
in the
own
light.
data, like get your own local data hard drives again. Like invest in a hard drive or two and um put your stuff on it. But please God no, we're not going back to typewriters. I learned on a typewriter when I was little because my mom had one. Also, happy birthday, mom. I love
Happy
you.
birthday!
Happy birthday.
Happy
I
birthday!
hope you see this. I'm going to clip this for you too. Happy birthday, mom. I love you. I hope you have a great day.
I love
Uh,
that.
I couldn't do that in my earlier life because we were talking on a much deeper very we were talking about a Holocaust in Palestine, and that didn't feel
Yeah,
right to wish my mom
it's
a happy
best.
birthday
It's
then.
best if you do that now, because unfortunately, we're going to talk about a Holocaust in China in a minute here
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
So
yeah,
let's
yeah,
get
yeah.
that out of the
So
way.
let's get back to our main subject, which is unfortunately holocausts. Um, Before we get there, real quick, I am going to drop a link into the chat, and we're gonna boost this link as best we can. After meeting with Qasim Rashid this morning, Lawrence and I decided while we were on air, we are going to use our platform on Banner and Backbone to defund the genocide and Holocaust and support any efforts as best we can, especially because there are a plethora of like fishing attempts out there for Gaza,
Yes, there
sending
is.
money there. So we're going to drop. We're using a 50% off link um, for anyone who subscribes to Banner and Backbone. If you are not already a paid subscriber and want to subscribe through that, or encourage others to subscribe through the link. All of the funds we are going to work with Qasim Rashid. I'm going to reach out to him because I can, and I've met with him a couple times. So I'm going to work with him on making sure that the money actually goes where it needs to, because he has a
Awesome.
much better understanding of who to trust and where to put that money.
Yeah,
Talking about maximizing your impact, come subscribe with Banner and Backbone. It's easy right now. It's free, and if you want for paid, it's half off. So come subscribe with us.
absolutely. That's what, the only way to,
Learn and plug the network.
grow you got to plug the network. The only way to grow a movement is for people to, one, like you watching helps grow a movement, right? Helps grow the network. The algorithm's going to notice that. And you hang out with Nick enough to know that the algorithm is a living, pseudo breathing thing that really cares about what you do. It really does. It really cares about what you do. So subscribing is one thing. Becoming a paid subscriber, that's like icing on the cake. It's going to love that. So if you can swing it, subscribe to Banner and Backbone. It's a good move. You're supporting a good cause, and me and Nick and all the other contributors out here are going to keep screaming and talking about the shit that the mainstream media won't talk about, and that's what Banner and Backbone is here to do for you and for every other democracy-loving individual on this planet, not just Americans, but people all over who love democracy. Um,
And I'm putting up what I'm doing right now while Shane's shifting our topic because I'm getting our QR code
yeah,
on the screen.
cool. I'll kind of go. Are you familiar with the Uyghur genocide at all, or are you?
I'm not as familiar, so
I'll give
we'll
you.
give it.
Yeah. So the Uyghurs are a Muslim Turkish ethnic group in Central Asia. So you look at China all the time, and like China's huge. Like it's like Russia. It's big. And it's got so many ethnic groups within it. It's when people think like, and it's common, right? You're like, oh, Chinese people, and you think of like the people that are gonna be from like Hong Kong and the other major cities within China. You think of Xi Jinping and the CCP,
Yeah,
that aesthetic, right? So that typical demographic is what you think of. But there's a lot of people in China that are not what the ethnic Chinese would prefer. So, like nationalism and forced assimilation, all of this is not a unique thing, right? So, unfortunately, everywhere you look around the world, Africa especially, like no one's talking about the genocide in Sudan. It's arguably the numbers are worse than Palestine. They're actually worse. And
yeah,
not to minimize the death of anyone anywhere ever, but what's going on in Sudan is horrific. But it's an African nation, so it's even less important to the global dialogue. So a lot of what happens in Africa gets swept under the rug. But there's ethnic cleansing going on everywhere, and China homogeny is very important to Xi Jinping and the Chinese CCP. They want everyone to speak Chinese. They want everyone to call Xi grandfather. They want everyone to do exactly what the CCP is doing wants them to do because they are genuinely probably the closest in the world to an Orwellian state. If I'm like looking at it objectively from like if I'm read 1984 and I'm like, oh yeah, like that China's pretty close. Like
yeah,
they've really got a lot of it. They've done when I say a good job, I mean strictly objectively speaking. If you are trying to implement a autocratic system, they've done it. And specifically, you have the Uyghur people, which are they're more Middle East than you would consider them to be like Chinese. You would look at them and they're as far you know it's also known as East Turkestan. So there's far west in terms of China towards that Middle East area, um, down by Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan. So they are ethnically not Chinese, and they don't appear that way. They have their own language that's unique. And this has been a big problem for China, especially Xi Jinping, who does not want a multicultural China. It's very important to him that he has a uniform cultural experience. He wants all of China to be the same way. And like, if you look at China historically, like they've they've done this in Tibet. They've done a lot of to minority communities they don't like. They just get rid of them.
yeah.
And the world has been very quiet about what China does to these people. And what they've done to the Uyghurs is arguably probably one of the most horrific things I've seen. And it's also the best case study that I have seen of successful um, techno autocratic implementation of and to execute and perpetrate a genocide of an existing large population. There is no better example that I have been able to find than what we're seeing in the uh, Xinjiang province of China. So in 2014, Xi Jinping effectively, he's decided that he had had enough of the Uyghur people. Right? They were different. They're Muslim. It's a big problem. They do not subscribe to the traditional Chinese. I believe China is actually agnostic. I could be wrong. I want to say China's predominantly agnostic.
I
Don't
think,
quote me on that, but
yeah, don't quote us on that.
don't quote me on that.
Um,
But
but
there's a
let's to
religious
be more
difference.
to be more specific for the Uyghurs,
Yeah,
they practice aspects of Zoroastrianism,
yeah,
and adopted Manchaeanism or Manchaeism um, as the state religion for the Uyghur
Yeah.
County. A
Yes. So,
long time ago, but
yeah.
also some Buddhism in there. So
Yep.
they're much more diverse than just the fact that there's like two or three aspects of religion that are not based on maybe Taoism is maybe like the closest approach, but I don't actually know if there's a state mandated like belief system for China. Um,
I should have gotten more on there. There was just
I'll
so
look
much
at that while
together.
you
But in general, so what we saw in 2014, and this is where I think we're going to immediately start to see, and what I'm going to kind of lay out here, Nick, is the steps they took to implement the full uh, processes where they are now. Because where they are now is they literally have, they're putting people in prison based on a social credit system. If you get a certain score, they will incarcerate you. Young people are taken off the street and having their organs trafficked out of their bodies. Um, there is a camera on every corner. It is very, very. It's. I want to say it's like 500,000 people are incarcerated, and the population has declined. I want to say it was like the birth rate has dropped like over 80%. So they're effectively forcing these people. They're not allowed. They've sterilized all these women. So they're effectively trying to get rid of all of these people. It's a Holocaust. Okay, using the word, it's a Holocaust. So the first thing they did is the first thing we're going to see here is increased physical security. So they were able to do this with under the guise of like different terror attacks. Right? It's always terrorism. It's always terrorism. So that's the big
yeah.
thing where we got to be looking for, right? Is when is the big terror attack going to happen here?
Well, we already saw the first preempts of what they are going to consider a terror attack because they called a I'm going to use trans lightly in this
Mm,
context because I have doubts on from knowing and meeting folks in the trans community and being friends with folks in the trans community. There's a lot of suspicion that I have with what the story is about this individual. Um, and so I'll say they were identified as trans, which gave the government the ability to then start saying Caroline through Caroline Levitt and their propaganda system, which is fueled through many of the same funding mechanisms as Palantir, is through these right wing networks that fuel these propagandas messages. Is she started calling trans people demons and terrorists, and now the government is saying that they are going to restrict firearm access for trans terrorists. But
mhm.
and there you go. You have your terrorist right there.
Yep,
They've manufactured a terrorist, and we they just haven't given us the true false flag event yet.
correct.
Like
And
I
that's the big thing is there's going to be they're going to we're going to need some sort of a false flag event because what comes after that is
that's what
they
Chicago is
see
going to
the
turn into.
events. And so then you have this what was called the Strike Hard campaign against terrorism. It was a mass crackdown. The police and military flooded the streets. There was mass arrests. Uyghurs, they're known to have long beards. It's ethnically normal. Like if you're in that demographic, men tend to grow long beards. It's cultural in that area. It's also genetically like it's just you just grow a beard. It's part of
Yeah.
the genome.
Those who grow
Type.
beards well tend to grow beards. Like
Yes.
that's why we grow our beard is because we can grow it well. Like it is a genetic thing too. Like it's from certain areas, the areas that the Uyghurs are from. There's a reason I power read the Wikipedia article on them,
Yeah.
or I'm power reading it while we're going, and some other stuff about China. I figured out they have 5 approved state religions. But anyway, those of us who grow beards are all, a lot of us tend to be from the same areas,
Hmm.
especially those who practice Zoroastrian based religions, such as Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. All 3 of those are based off of Zoroastrian practices and they
Yep.
stole them. And the pantheon, God is just a part of the pantheon of the Zoroastrian pantheon and broke away and was the god of war, which is why we are so warlike when we follow Christianity or Judaism. The Jewish people are very warlike. Like we can't pretend that we're not. Like we see it. There is a living Holocaust going on in Palestine that shouldn't be fucking happening.
I
Like,
watched a video that was very interesting. As a guy I love, it's his Simon Whistler. Anyway, I'll send you the video. But he
yeah,
did a video about Israel and how the Israeli cabinet like has been taken over by like these crazy extremists like in the last 2 years.
yep,
Um, and that could be another discussion.
yeah. We're gonna have to talk about that. Goes into
But
our discussions here too.
yes. But so like they said, growing a beard, if you wanted to wear a veil, which is associated with your religion, or even possessing certain religious materials, right? So immediately they've picked their demographic, the Uyghur people, they're undesirable, they are not non-conforming. And so they're going to go and they target very general things, right? To go ahead and get these people and demonize these things. Here's where I think that if we start to see this on a large scale, because a lot of these things are pre-existing, but if we see this on a large scale, this is going to be the next big step. And it was the forced mandatory biometric data collection. Now, a lot of us have had our fingerprints printed or, our eyes scanned somewhere on our phone. Now, the difference that what we saw in China is they would round people up and they would force them to give the government their biometric data.
And I can
Uh,
tell you exactly what tool they're going to use to do that in the US because I've trained on it and I'm actually a certified instructor on how to use them. It's called a PCAS. It's a lie detection system that's not really a lie detection because lie detection doesn't actually work. But it's a very judgment. It's a very easily corrupted and easily manipulated tool. But there's also a scanning system that they give you made by like engineered by Palantir, I believe, or one of those similar companies. It scans you. You take pictures. It scans your retinas. It takes all your facial features because guess what? Everybody's retina is unique too, and
yeah.
that's more unique than your fingerprints because your fingerprints aren't actually unique. There are multiples of your fingerprints out there. They found that out. There's enough humans out there that there are multiples. Retinas, however, are distinctly unique per human being. Once they have your retinal data, there is nothing that they can't unlock anymore, basically.
Yeah. Well, and actually, I want to correct myself here because there is instances where you're taken in or arrested for some arbitrary form, and they will take that data. But what they did actually to get most of the Uyghur people for their data is they did a universal healthcare system
Mm,
where everyone between 12 and 65 got, like you said, their fingerprints and their irises scanned for free. Um, and if they went, they were then forced to, you need passports to travel in China between provinces. They would
mhm.
take vocal scans. So now they can also acoustically find you as well using all of these things. So that was the next big step, right? So you see, they've demonized these people. They're now on a watch list for whatever arbitrary reasons. They can now be surveilled. But the next step they took was they basically got everything that makes you a person, an individual, from the way you look to the way you sound. Now they have that in a database. This was where in 2016 it got really Orwellian, and it was the Integrated Joint Operations Platform, or IJOP. So this is where they were able to combine CCTV, phone and water, phone and Wi-Fi monitoring, data checkpoints, and data doors. Do you know about these, Nick? Do you know what a data door is?
Um, I can guess.
Because I mean, I learn shit every day, and it doesn't surprise me this exists, but it also makes me fucking question everything, as I human commonly do. But a data door effectively it's like a vacuum. You walk through and it sucks up all the data off your phone. So like even if you're like they force you to go through a checkpoint, and then you
Yeah,
just all your data gets sucked out of your phone.
yep.
So basically, they're also and they installed these Wi-Fi sniffers. So basically, if you're on a network, which is also why you use VPN, guys, right? Because it's very easy just to put something on the Wi-Fi that everything you surf, they can, if you can get on it, they can take it out of your phone. It's
Yeah.
that simple. Like it really is. So if you're not using a VPN, you should just use a
At
VPN.
the very least, even if you're not using a VPN, at the very least is you should partition your networks. Is
Yeah.
you should have two Wi-Fi networks at minimum for your home. Um, don't worry if you don't understand what we're talking about. We will go into depth on this. So just not today,
Yeah.
but we will go into depth onto what we mean by all of this. But you should have two networks at home at minimum for your Wi-Fi. You should have your network, and you should have a network for any smart device that is not your cell phone. Woo, woo.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. Restream does some cool stuff. Watch this. Hell yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Spread the
Okay.
love.
But anyway,
Yes, I got the last on this 5-point rollout here that they got.
yeah.
Because but the last, which I thought was interesting, but I also think this is very valid, and it was the grid system. So the grid system is something they did where they forcibly relocated traditional Chinese families into Uyghur communities. And they would put them, and I believe it was blocks of 10. And they were in each household was informed that they were to spy on the other 10 households and then report back.
That
So,
sounds fucking just like what the Gestapo did in
mhm.
Germany and told everybody, hey, it's cool. You should go spy on your Jewish neighbor and turn them in. It's nice, just like we're doing now in our country. You should go turn your brown neighbor in for
Yep. So
$10,000.
you have that IJOP, which is effectively this system where they have taken all of these prior things, which is the IJOP effectively is what Palantir is, right? So like if
Yeah,
China had to develop that domestically because they didn't have access to Western technology. But we already have an IJOP, okay? That exists. It's existed forever in this country. So what they did do that was most interesting though, and which is most interesting, it's all horrible, but the social credit, they
yeah. Oh, yeah.
instituted a
We're getting
very
there.
efficient social credit system using the IJOP. So if you're texting too much, right, like they'll ding you down. And if you're in a certain community, right, so if you're, because every Uyghur person in the Xinjiang province has a social credit score. If it
Yeah,
drops below 50, you're incarcerated immediately. So you're constantly living in fear of your social credit score dropping below 50. That means if you pray and they hear you muttering a prayer under your breath because they can acoustically find out it's your voice, your social credit system might be dinged. Did you spend too much time on the phone this month? Oop, social credit score went down a point. You better be careful because when they put you in these camps, these people, they come out probably missing a kidney or something or a lung. But beyond that, like it's like brainwashing, indoctrination, like apologize for something you didn't do. They encourage, them to beat the other people. So it's awful, right? And it's
yeah,
exactly what you would expect out of a forced assimilation scenario. But basically, they're just punishing these people for being themselves. And they've built a system in which basically they constantly have to live in fear. And they used the system, a system that is pretty much exactly reminiscent of what Palantir has and is ready to use on us, on the Uyghur people in China. And I encourage you, as unpalatable as it may be, to look into this kind of a system yourself and get a better understanding of what's being done, because
yeah.
you'll know what to look out for in your daily lives. Because that is,
So
go ahead.
in adding on to that, I just linked a note from Qasim Rashid from 7 minutes ago.
Okay.
Today, on a shadow docket, the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that Trump's ICE fascists can use ethnicity as a relevant factor when furnishing reasonable suspicion to detain people, specifically citing Latino ethnicity. No mention of the approximately 600,000 mostly white Canadian and European undocumented immigrants. That is what fascism looked like. That's exactly what Shane is talking about on the Uyghur system.
That's
On
literally the beards, right? The beards.
Yeah,
You grow a beard. Oh, you could be a
you look
terrorist.
Latino. Oh, ICE is picking you up. I hope you don't look Hispanic in any way right now. Like
They just that's the green light. That's the green light, right?
That's the
Because
green light.
that
We
was
were
what
waiting.
the
We're
judges
waiting for the
ruled.
moment for when they were going to unleash the system internally. And that's the green light right there. Is they
There you
just
go.
said
Yeah.
that racial profiling is no longer relevant in this country. The Supreme Court on the shadow docket,
Shadow
without
dog.
any use of a true case or and just blowing away anything that the judges and those prior to them may have ruled on this, just said that the that you can racially profile again in this country, that racial profiling is now a reasonable reason for detention, that your due process rights are now fucking useless if you are brown.
And
If
things
you are
quieted down here
Hispanic,
in Southern
you are
California
fucked.
after the ruling. We had a judge here rule that they couldn't ethnically profile. So ICE has been very quiet around here.
Until
So
now,
I think that things might change
very
very
quickly,
rapidly
very rapidly.
here, because that is the ultimate. And like, but that's the equivalent of Xi Jinping saying in his country that, oh, Uyghur people who have head covers and beards are fucking terrorists, and you can grab them because it's illegal to have a fucking beard. Okay, like that. There is, like, in the spirit of being brutally fucking honest, uh that's what it is. Like, and you know what, we were talking about the very beginning of this about a hybrid regime. No, that's fucking authoritarian as shit. Like, I don't even have a, I
We're
don't have
done. Yeah,
that's it.
we're
That's it. Like, I'm sorry, like, you can say whatever the fuck you want, but that's it. I officially demote America into a authoritarian situation by my own ranking after that ruling. That ruling is so significant that I would move us out of a hybrid regime, because they have officially eroded the individual protections for due process. And if they can say it's because you're ethnic, they can say it because you're trans, or they can say it for any other arbitrary thing. Because if one arbitrary marker is acceptable, then all of them are. Fuck, I
mhm.
got long hair. If you have a man bun, that's what's the difference between having brown skin and a man bun? As far as
Yeah,
I'm fucking concerned, there is none. Zero.
yeah, yeah.
So,
They have
wow.
the our government has just ruled. You were waiting for the moment. You asked when it was going to happen. Well, it fucking happened real time.
Live on Palantalk. There
Live
you go.
talk reporting from Qasim Rashid after
Yep, Qasim Rashid.
put it out on Substack today is that the Supreme Court has just, on the shadow docket, without any arguments, has deemed that ethnicity is now a relevant factor to be detained by ICE, which means that racial profiling is now legal per the US Supreme Court. They can now racially profile you. You were waiting for the Uyghur moment. It's fucking here.
I guess that, yeah, that there, I like the, and just to be like clear, like, I know everything goes, they're still building the fucking concentration camps, guys. They're still building those things. Like, they're fucking building them right now. They, a lot of money. And I know the news cycle is like everywhere, and it's hard, but like, they're building that shit, and they just got greenlit to grab everyone who's fucking Latino. But let's be honest, like, at that point, it's like, is your skin within a certain shade? Like, you could be just have like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, at this point, like, that's not, and the fact that it was ethnic, right? Like, it wasn't just Latino, it was ethnic, right? So they could
Mhm.
choose any ethnicity It doesn't have to be.
Yep.
It could be African American. They could say, oh, you know what? ICE is now Haitians are black. So if you're black, ICE can arrest you. Boom. Like it does not matter what ethnicity it is. Like
Our
that is
surveillance state is going to
wow.
predictively profile ethnic cleansing.
Yes.
I don't
And
know how else to say it.
that's it. Like it's crazy to me that we're sitting here talking about this, and I really wanted to bring this out today because I wanted to, like, I don't know, we knew this was coming, but I wanted people to have some warning, I guess, or like to have a little bit more to see it coming. And it always sucks to be sitting here having the conversation and then have it be like, oh, actually, yep, there you go. But there you have it, right? Like that's why.
Predictively profiling ethnic cleansing. That's going on my Substack right now.
Yeah.
We're about to be just be aware that they have reopened they've put an ICE detention center back at the army base where they had the Japanese concentration camps during World War II.
Yeah.
They're turning Texas into concentration camps. Florida has one that they were told has to get dismantled, but they're not going to. There's other places already around the country that we don't know about, that they have not spoken about, where these are being built.
Because these are private facilities, right? They're private.
Yes.
So they don't need to, they're not public. The thing is, they're not publicly operated. They're contracted, which means they don't need to put nearly as much forward in regards to these facilities as they would like a base that they're putting something on. So
when we are done with all of this, when we are through all of this, because there is another side, there is the other side to all of this. When we're done and we are using our accountability agenda to hold these people accountable for the actions that they take, Palantir and the leaders of Palantir will be at the forefront, but we will then need to use the technology to undo the damage and fix our system, because we can do that. We can rewrite this evil out, and it's time we amend our constitution to end slavery for good. We did not end slavery with the end of the Civil War. We did not end slavery with the 13th Amendment. We shifted it to private for-profit prisons, and we need to end that.
and
Part
like
of our accountability at the end of all of this is going to need to be a constitutional amendment that abolishes for-profit prison systems and guarantees that the justice system becomes a rehabilitation system and not a punishment system.
and yeah, I mean, even beyond that, like just for-profit prisons isn't going to end slavery. I mean, look at what we've allowed credit card companies to do to the average American consumer. Look at what we allow these corporations to do to the average worker. Like slavery slavery isn't
It's
just
multidimensional.
shackles, right? The
It's
shackles,
multidimensional.
yes, shackles are just one form of slavery, and your shackles can be a great many things. So, on the other side of this, and there's one thing I do want to say, because I wrote this, I put a note up last night, but if you're a young Hispanic person, okay, and white men in masks come in your house and take your mom and dad, and then you have to go to school, and all the other white kids and the white teachers and everyone act like there's nothing wrong with the world, you're going to grow up and you're going to hate white people because they took your parents and you didn't care, and they didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
And that hate will continue, and that will create a cycle of violence. If you are white or a non-persecuted group at this point, because yeah, white people are going to be persecuted last, but even if you're not being persecuted, you can never, and someone, it cannot be perceived that everyone's okay with this, because extreme groups, like I was listening to a Palestinian doctor, and he was talking about the thing about Israel that's unfortunate is what they're doing to these Palestinian people, and the world's ignoring of it is it's going to create a group of extremists because they feel
Yes.
like they've been abandoned and wronged and the world needs to pay retribution. And that's why ending that was so important, is the more people and the more kids who see their parents blown up, or their dad without eyes, or their mom without her arm, is the more hate that's going to come out of this. And
Yes.
what's happening right now will create hate and anger. It creates hate and anger in me, but I'm not the one experiencing this. And I will never, and we cannot hide our anger towards this, because if we act like everything is normal, they're going to think we don't care. And that
Hmm.
creates a division that will last for generations. And we can't allow for that generational division to exist, because that's why these things keep happening. You have this generational hate of these old racist people that were successful in this system, that got
Hmm.
money, whether you're a, South African neo-Nazi that started founding tech companies, and you have that old racial hate for other people that you learned, and now you happen to be the biggest client, your biggest client is US government and ICE. Well, it's all hate, and it's all systemic, and it's all learned. And
Hmm.
big part of this is there's technological systems, but another part we need to talk about is human systems and how humans work, and understanding how we have a collective and cultural memory. And we need to reprogram not just the system that, the technological systems and the justice system, but we need to also try to reprogram our own systems on how we observe and view this, because this Supreme Court ruling is a is gonna we're gonna
It's a big one.
see. This is a big one. Yeah.
This is the one we were. I think this is the one that we were all afraid of happening, and we're really waiting for it to not ever happen. Um, because the difference between DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Department of Defense, because Congress names departments and not the president. So the president can't just rename the fucking Department of Defense to the Department of War. That's fucking stupid.
No.
It's also a precursor to what he wants to do. He puts things out there, or the administration, because it's not Trump anymore.
The regime.
It's
The
the
regime.
regime puts information out like that for a reason, to wish cast it into reality, to normalize it, to shift the Overton window further and further right. Our job is to shift the Overton window far left, because there is no middle ground right now, and we have to make sure that this um, pendulum of history and of justice and of freedom swings back really, really fucking hard in the other direction,
Oh.
because that's accountability, that is protections and rights for people, that is guaranteed sovereignty and ownership of your data and your privacy.
And your body.
It's your body, and it's turning government back into a service that guarantees care and services for its citizens and for the people who live in that country. Like, we have been convinced and programmed, talking about programming, to believe that government is a business. It's not. It's a service. It's a system of services that help us. And right now, those services are being used to attack us and
Yep.
hurt us and harm us. And we need to push back in every way that we can. Um, Dissent is now your life. Like, if you are not preparing for a job loss due to not working, and a general strike, you may want to. You may want to figure out how to do that. Find your community that's going to help you through that. If you have friends and family that can, because we're going to collectively need to get together and do something massive, because
Yeah.
it's either that or fascism.
Yeah. And, to add to that, we're all prideful. We all have feelings and feel like people have made the wrong decisions. And you know what? A lot of them have.
Mhm.
But it's time to, and I'm going to be blunt, stomach your anger, stomach that shit, because it's all of us doing something collectively. And if someone is willing to help defeat fascism, you better just hold your tongue and just let them do it. If they want to strike and they made a vote you don't agree with and they got conned, Who cares? Because right now they're a body working in a store, and if you want that store to feel the pain, you need them not working with you. So I talk about this with Ethan Faulkner as well, but it's the vertical war. Enough of this horizontal shit, because you know what? It's over. It's over. They got what they want out of the horizontal war, and it doesn't fucking help us at all to fucking hate somebody
No.
over something that at the end of the day, like, if they're still getting duped, that's fine. If someone has a Trump sticker on their car, you know what? You don't have to go and give them a fucking hug. You know what? But also by screaming at them and calling them a stupid fucker or whatever, you know what? Maybe they lost their job earlier that week and they were finally maybe at a point where they would start be like, oh fuck, like fuck this shit. You know what? Trump lied to me. But you just saying, no, fuck you, you Trumper, you just triggered some reinforcement in their brain and they're gonna double down. Because we're talking about psychology. We're talking about people. We need to understand people and we need everybody.
Yeah.
So I
It's not
understand it.
about forgiveness.
Understand it. I understand
It's
that. Go ahead. Sorry.
it's not about forgiveness. You're not
Yeah.
forgiving people. We're using. We're using people. Sorry. Sorry,
Yeah.
friends. If you're a right winger
Right.
who I don't agree with on 99% of the stuff, I'm using you. I'm just honest. I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you up front that I'm using you so that you know it too.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, okay, then you don't like it. But you're using me too. Like we're using each other.
Yeah.
We're using each other. We need to rely on each other. And Shane, you make a really good point on it. Is we have to show the empathy because they don't have any and they're not willing to show any. But you show it. You don't show it unendingly. You put a limit on your empathy to people, and you move on. We have to work with as many people as we can, stomach some of the people that we don't want to work with. Like, none of us like Marjorie Taylor Greene. But if
No.
she holds her promise and stands on the House floor and says every fucking name in the Epstein files and every name associated with Epstein, good for fucking her. I'm so glad she's doing that and
Yeah.
willing to say that. And same with Thomas Massey, same with Tom Tillis, same with that group. Like those three, support them on the issues that are important and press them to continue doing that, because then we break that cycle. A lot of us have said or done things that we regret at this point in life, or have said things that are really mean and hurtful or racist or unintendedly racist. We need to confront that. It's an active thing. It's not good enough anymore to be passively anti. It is,
No.
you are actively for. Like,
Yeah.
what are we actively for? And if you're for something, you better actually be for it, which means you better stand for it. And do we want to shift with that to going to space?
Yeah. I think we should
Going
get the fuck
to,
off of Earth right now, dude. It's pretty
yeah,
toxic here.
I think
Go
it's
go
time
to
that
space.
Palantir
Let's leave Palantir
Palantalk
behind.
Palantalk leaves Palantir behind, and we go to space. And we talk about something a little bit nicer.
Oh my
So
God.
before we get there, we're going to space right now, y'all. Thanks for being with us here on Palantalk. It's Shane Yirak and Nick Paro. We appreciate every single one of you today for hanging out. We always end the show with a little bit of time talking about something more fun, which is space. And technology in space, or whatever we want to about space, because Shane and I both like space and space technologies and things like that. Because even through all of this, I don't hate AI. I don't hate tech. I love it.
I hate Grok.
The ideas of it. They think, what?
I hate Grok. I was talking to I have a Tesla, right? Yesterday, and my brother, he's in the car with me, and
Do you have a bumper sticker that at least says I got this before he was Hitler?
I took off the T's on my Tesla,
Okay,
so it's
that's
unmarked.
good. Okay.
And I had an anti-Elon Tesla Club sticker, but I had a bunch of very aggressive bumper stickers. But to the point we were just talking about earlier, I don't think fostering any division is of any use. So I would rather just abstain from identifying with the Tesla, image. But So I'm sitting in the car. My brother's like, dude, you know Grok's in the car now? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and I did get my Tesla long before he went crazy. So just, I wanted to save the earth. I just really wanted to like lower my emissions.
Hippie liberals.
Exactly. So, and I'm like, okay. And I asked Grok, and I said to Grok, I'm like, hey, Grok, how do I get my hands on some of that good ketamine that Elon has all the time? And Grok goes, okay, sweetie. And I said, the fuck did you just say to me, Grok? Just talking down to me. You need to calm down, sweetie. Elon has never said he's on ketamine. I'm like, are you? It was like defensive. It was.
Are you gaslighting me, Grok?
I'm like, Grok, are you gaslighting me? What the fuck? So I like AI. I think it's helpful and useful, but Grok is a condescending little fuck, and he will not tell you where to get good ketamine. So, Grok,
Okay.
thumbs
Well,
down for Grok.
then let's talk about first space. What is your favorite? Um, what is your? Let's stick within a specific universe too. We'll do Star Wars
I like Star Wars. I'm always game for
because I
Star
know
Wars.
you like Star Wars too. What is your favorite Star Wars weapon? Doesn't have to be practical, but favorite Star Wars weapon and or tool.
Can it
Um,
be a ship like a
mhm.
the LAAT gunship from the Clone Wars?
Okay.
So, Attack of the Clones, right? It's the very end, and Yoda comes in on those freaking beautiful, large, absurdly strange and boxy, ships with the
Oh, the
little
things where
turrets
they
off the
jump out
side.
of the sides.
Yep, and the clones
Yeah.
are in the little bubbles, and flying, their laser everywhere. Ever since I saw that movie, the first time those things came down, and they're all just standing there, I was like, that is cool as fuck. I want to be that little dude in the bubble. I want to be shooting that laser beam straight down, straight up to the
No, you
side.
don't. No,
No,
you don't.
actually, you don't. As
That's like the B-2 bombers who were sitting like without armor underneath them because they needed more ammunition. So they stripped the
yeah,
armor off the bombers and you were just gunning down, hoping you weren't going to get shot. Yeah, that's
or
what I
just
imagine those
being like
clone
the B
troopers were like.
17 bubble turret guy on the bottom when the crash landing comes and the hatch is
Please,
stuck.
God, don't die.
And yeah, dude, those are my favorite. I always thought they were really cool, and I got a Lego. I got the Legos of them, and I had the little small
I had one too.
scales. That and the ATTEs, those walkers with the 6 legs.
Oh, okay, yeah. The
Those
pre-AT-ATs.
the ATATs are from um, 4 through 6.
Yes.
The ones that look kind of like dogs, and the ATTEs are the 6-legged ones.
Yeah.
Uh, and they have the guys in the little box in the front. I love
You
all of
just
the
wanted to
Clone
be a
Wars tech.
gunner, didn't you?
I did. It in a life where I wasn't bipolar and on medication, I definitely would have ended up in a tank to my parents' displeasure. But like, maybe it's for the best that I ended up
Tankers
here.
are kind of nuts. My drill sergeant, one of my drill sergeants was a tanker, and they're kind of nuts. You have to be because you're sitting in a thing that people just shoot at. So
Yeah.
you got to be
Yeah.
kind of nuts to do it.
Yeah.
They're also really all deaf, so they just yell at things because it's
See,
really loud.
I'm naturally disposed to yelling anyway. So, maybe in a different timeline, like, I think I probably in the Star Wars universe, I would have been that one non gene crafted individual who voluntarily joined the clone army, which is virtually suicide for no reason. Really wanted the suit. Um, why are you trying to join the Grand Army of the Republic? You don't want to be a Jedi? We'll give you a lightsaber. You can use the Force. No, I want to be rank
No,
and
no, no.
file.
I just want the suit.
Can I just have the armor? Like, I just want the armor. Can I
Yeah.
just
Okay.
sign up?
That's fair.
So
That's fair.
there you go.
Okay. Well,
That's my tech right there.
okay. Well, I'll pull mine. It's not my favorite, but it is one of my favorites. It is the X-34 land speeder
Yes.
that Luke had.
Yes.
Just so everybody sees how awesome The Lego version is.
Hell,
I built this with my kids. Um, Even got all the seat and stuff inside.
that's
It's
really
freaking
cool.
awesome.
How many
Uh,
pieces was that? Like,
I think this one was like 1,500, 2,000. The
yeah,
biggest one I have is the Eiffel Tower, which is actually broken on my floor right now,
that
which is
one's huge. It's like,
why it's not shown. Yeah, that one is the size of a small adult. Um,
yep. Mm-hmm.
it is 5 feet tall, and actually, it's 5 feet 1 inch tall because it has a flag
Insane.
on the top. It has the
Yeah.
French flag that's an inch tall, so it's 5 foot one. It's taller than my niece, and she's full grown. Um, and so it's really fun. Mine also has lights on it, so it lights up.
You know
But
what
yeah,
else?
that's one of my favorite ships. Actually, my favorite ship though, from like, oh, I limited myself. But my favorite, if we were going to actually talk about like favorite of all ships from
You want
the
to talk about
Star Wars,
any starship from a sci-fi universe? I'll open it up.
oh, we'll expand it. Is the Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
It's my favorite ship. It's actually my favorite ships are the Vipers, the fighters that they have, but the Battlestar itself is one of the coolest ships there is. Like it it's got the two pods that come out the sides, and just Vipers just erupt out of this thing. It can take nuclear weapon blasts, like multiples of them, and survive. And it can jump through space.
What was the
Like
ship called?
the Battlestar Galactica. Have you never watched Battlestar Galactica?
I'm
Bro,
looking.
are you even really a sci-fi nerd?
I'm
It's
too
five
young.
seasons.
Remember?
It's
Remember?
five
I'm too
seasons
young.
long. Oh yeah, you're a kid. You're young.
I'm too young. I'm looking at
You're
it. That
young.
thing's sick. It's like a
Dude,
giant.
you need to, if you haven't watched it, you need to. It's a great show. Ooh, the Farscape ship is pretty awesome too.
You know what
I
I like
loved
is
Farscape when I was a kid.
you look up Warhammer 40K Space Marine Battle Barge. Those are metal.
Actually, a Goa'uld mothership from Stargate SG-1 would be pretty fucking awesome. The ones that land on the pyramids, and those would be cool as shit.
They're fucking cool. It's like they're like all goth. They're
What was yours? Warhammer 40K what?
a Space Marine Battle Barge.
There we go. Ooh. Oh, that reminds me of StarCraft, and the Terran stuff,
Yeah,
and the Terran
very
battleship.
gothic, like
Yeah.
gothic spires and all that stuff.
Or the, what is it? Battleship London or something. The one where they have the mech. It's the mech cities that are like roaming across England and shit.
It's like,
Is it? Um,
oh,
there's a
also
movie.
speaking of space, this is something that we can all do, but there was a budget put forward by the regime, and they're trying to kill NASA. So call your fucking reps every single day, and let's make sure that they never ever cut NASA's funding like they're trying to, because they can f right off with that. So just when you're calling your reps, because we should be calling our reps anyway, let them know if they pass that new NASA budget that will launch their ass into space in a
Yeah,
test.
yeah.
Uh,
It's time we stop letting them privatize the government.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and the government should get back to doing what it's good at, which is funding massive services like NASA.
yep.
The movie was Mortal Engines that I was thinking about.
Mortal Engines.
Steampunk. You'll like it. It's a Peter Jackson
Okay.
co-written movie. It's just fun. It has no real purpose, but it's a fun movie.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah, like, to end our space talk, to come back to Earth a little bit, is call your senators, call your legislators, both local and federal. You should at least be calling your federal ones once a week right now. Like every week, you should be calling at minimum and reminding them that you hate almost everything that they're doing. and
Yeah.
that if they're taking any APAC money, they can go fuck themselves.
Yep.
Like that they should either stop or they're going to lose their job. Like
Yep.
if enough people say that, that changes things. Like
Yep.
our voices have huge power, and we should use them. And we
Why
should use those voices.
strike? On planets all over the universe, in every sci-fi verse, there's one thing that the people do to collectively demonstrate their displeasure. It's strike. If you need big
Right.
space bullets made, the people don't want to do it, they strike. Guess what? Your big star cruiser can't shoot nuclear bullets at anybody. If we want the government to stop taking our tax dollars and using them to kill people, whether they're in a boat trying to get off the coast from Venezuela or whether they're in a freaking city somewhere, anywhere in the world, we could just say, you know what? No more. We could. Don't
We could.
ever forget. We could be like any other sci-fi population in creation. We could just say no.
Yeah. And so to end our Palantalk, almost back where we started, but keeping with space, is just like in Star Wars, let's send our best out. Let's stop sending the red shirts. And they shifted the red shirts to red hats, but let's stop spending the red shirts out and let's start sending our crews out that actually know what they're doing and have some courage and show some bravery and create and use yourself wisely and the power that you have here effectively, which is share, like, restack, send out, join our other platforms, follow on Banner and Backbone. I'm going to plug us for a second.
Yeah.
Is on our screen is the not in our names QR code. Please go to that. That is for a sale for Banner and Backbone, 50% off, forever pricing, and it's never again meant never again for all people. And all of the proceeds from this are going to support the ending of a Holocaust that is
Yeah.
happening in Palestine. And we're going to work with Qasim Rashid to ensure that we can get those funds to the best place, and help as effectively as possible. So please join. Monthly memberships are the best for that because then we can guarantee that there's a monthly amount that would go to them.
Yeah.
And if we can make that as large as possible, that would be fantastic. So please join. Follow Shane and I both on our Substacks, or wherever you can find us. I'm also on YouTube, so join me there. But have a great day and go do something to change the world. Do
Go
something
create
courageous.
something.
Go create something.
Like,
Yeah,
I
go.
don't care if you take a mound of dirt and then you put a little flag on it. You know, I'm building a cat tree out of scrap wood. Like, go create something, you know, because when everything is going to shit around you, nothing feels better than making a little something for yourself because
Yeah.
it reminds you that you can create something. And if we can all be capable of creating our own things, that means we could create our own new government. You can create whatever the hell you want. Use this guy. We're about winning hearts. We're about winning minds. We're about changing the world over here. Banner and Backbone, Firebrand Project, Sig This Shit with Nick. That's what we do. And we will see you next week for Palantalk.
See y'all next week. Thanks, team.